Welcome back to Given Chance to Farm. Today we're out here in the barn, giving Hot Chocolate a little bit of time to play around a little bit. For those of you that remember from the video the other day before we took her to get her bred, we talked about Coco, the original crossbred goat, dairy goat that we had purchased. Ended up testing positive for CAE. So basically, what that is caprine, I think I'm saying that right, arthritic encephalitis. So they can have any kind of symptoms from nothing at all the way through to encephalitis, which is in the brain part of it. So she was starting to show some slight symptoms of arthritis in her joints. And she was a young doe. Our vet, when she looked at her teeth, guessed her to be just getting ready to become a 3-year-old by her teeth. So the decision was made for us to the vet told us the best thing to do would be to get rid of her, because the CAE, if we got her pregnant, can transfer through the colostrum to the kid. So basically, if she was pregnated, basically what they tell you to do is when it gets close to time and you think that they're going to kid, you have to tape up their teeth so that the kid can't accidentally get any of it. And really, you have to be watching. You kind of need to be there right at the time of kidding. And you pull that kid away from mom, get it some colostrum that doesn't have CAE in it, and then raise it as a bottle baby. Depending on what website you're looking at or whatever, they also say it can transfer through the feces from adult to adult also. So they basically tell you to separate that goat out that's from the rest of the herd. So, and then from there, you would basically just keep her separated the whole time, and then you're worrying about, from our standpoint at least, in order to be able to keep everything clean and everything sanitary, anytime that she would come into the barn for anything, you'd be using a different stall fork, different feed pans, all of that. There's people that are out there that do that, and more power to them. It doesn't fit into our system. That's why we decided the best thing for us to do was to get rid of her. And we initially thought, we were going to euthanize her. Then we also thought about possibly, some people were telling us, well, just take her to the sale barn. I'm like, well, that's not fair. We're pretty sure that we were sold the goat knowing that she had this disease. That's why she was so cheap to us to begin with. And for one, I didn't want to take it to the sale barn and have that possibility of it transferring that all the way through their sale barn, because it will actually transfer between goat and sheep also. So that's not being a good steward of the animals if you're willing to do that, in my opinion. And like I said, that's just my opinion. So the other option that came up to us was that another member of the farmers market we go to, he raises sheep and goats, and had a processing plant call him up and ask him if he had any more goats or sheep, because they had a cancellation, so they had an opening for processing. Because that's been a big deal around this area for any kind of animal really to be processed. They're booking them out all the way through 2021 already. So when he told us that and said he didn't have one, so that place still had an opening, I asked Brittany, I said, well, we need to get rid of her, and that's by recommendations of our vet, and we agreed. So I was like, well, we can either, euthanize her, or we could take her to the processor and process her, and, she would be able to nourish our bodies. So that way, everything wasn't going for a total loss there. So we made sure we verified that the CAE, even if we would have got her pregnant and used the milk, it doesn't transfer into humans. So it doesn't pass through the milk to us. And it also doesn't bother the meat either. And actually, when I started looking into it more, they actually recommended, if the goat tested positive for CAE, to actually process it for meat. So I called the place. They still had the appointment available. So I made the appointment and took it. So we dropped her off December 10th. So it would have been last Thursday. And I picked up the meat part of it today. It was definitely a learning process for us. We have never processed a goat out before. We've never used this processing plant before. So we're used to, using one that's local to us and actually only just a couple of minutes down the road from us. And we've used them from everything from deer, pigs, cows. Been very happy with them, and kind of know the processing fees. So we ended up taking it to this other place. After I'd made the appointment, I had talked with a couple other people that have goats and have used that processing facility, and everybody basically gave them the same recommendation. Nice packaging of the meat, but they're about double the price to process than anywhere else. So I was like, well, what's done is done. I already made the appointment, and they charge a $50 cancellation fee if you cancel. So, we went ahead and had the processing done. Like I said, I received an email today with my invoice saying that the meat was ready to pick up. So I opened it up, seen the price. Took me a second to get my breath. It kind of took my breath away. And then I went, picked it up. And the other thing about it is, this place it's over an hour drive away from me just to drop it off anyway. So, I had to drive an hour there to drop the goat off to be processed, an hour back home. Now today I had to go, do another hour plus there, hour plus back home with this meat. And all said and done, it was 126 pound live weight, and she weighed 60 pounds hanging weight. So we ended up with 20 packages of ground meat, 2 packages of bone-in leg roast, 2 packages of 6 on the rack rib chops, 2 packages of 6 on the loin chops, and that was it. So that was, even if you divided her hanging weight into the price of processing, you're already just on hanging weight alone was over $3 a pound right there. So by the time you take away the rest of it and get the actual meat to us, it was a little bit pricier than I expected, but like I said, she'll still be able to nourish our bodies, and we'll be thankful for that. And like I said, we know for next time what we need to do. the mistake was just as much our fault as it was theirs to sell it to us. We should have asked about the CAE testing before we bought it. And, but it was just, honestly, it was lack of knowledge at the time. We didn't know anything about the CAE. And even discussing it with our vet even tells us that there's actually more farms out there that don't test for it than do test for it. So, not understanding why, now that we're aware of it, we will definitely test for it and also do the CAE preventative protocols around here as well. So that way we can make sure that we can attempt to keep this from happening again in the future. So we do like the talking bird breed though. So I made contact today with the people that were there when we took Hot Chocolate to breed, and they had a doe in there with the buck that we were using to breed her, and there might be a chance that we may be looking at possibly getting a doeling when that doe gives birth, or kids, whatever you want to call it. So that's definitely something looking in the future. I like the talking bird breed. I was pleased to hear them look at her body and look at it for correctness, and since they show goats and tell me that we had a good foundation doe there, so I would like to make sure that we continue that and make sure if we're going to help the girls raise these animals that you know, and honestly, by looking at prices of animals nowadays and goats in general, I mean, you're looking at a difference between, you know, $200-300 for an unregistered animal, or $300 to $400 for a registered animal that, you know, with decent bloodline on it already. So you might as well spend the money and do it right the first time instead of like we did, and you know, we thought we were getting a cheap goat, but I guess cheap goat's the same as getting a free goat. There's no such thing as a free goat. It's going to cost you money because it's free for a reason, I reckon, most times. So like I said, we're going to keep an eye on Hot Chocolate though, and we will she was bred on the 13th, so I need to look at her within 21 days, make sure she's not coming back in heat. As long as she's not coming back in heat, then 30 days from that day, I will, from the breeding day, I'll pull blood from her, verify through Bioprin that she's pregnant, and we'll be kidding on May 12th. So that way, between that and the possibility of purchasing another one, we can extend their herd just a little bit and increase our milk supply around here. So,
because the milk is yummy.
Yep, milk is yummy, and it's not getting any cheaper in the stores either. So, all right, well, hope everybody enjoys the video. Like I said, I just want to make sure we try to talk everybody through the things we do around here, and like I say, some things are good that go on and some things are mistakes, and I want to make sure that, you know, the mistake that we made, if I talk about it on here, maybe it'll save somebody else from making that same mistake. So, but we still got a positive side out of this. We're gonna have meat to eat. So hope you enjoy the videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll see you on the next one.